Today, our focus will be on composing and typing with grammar support. So you've seen this if you were at one of our last few sessions, the developmental stages of writing. So you can see my little orange arrow there at the very bottom, and I know it's super small. It says 6 traits of writing. Probably a lot of you have heard about 6-trait writing. It's been a big thing in kind of the general ed writing curriculum. So I just kind of highlighted those here. Conventions, organization, voice, ideas, word choice, and sentence fluency. And I think keeping all these in mind as we're learning to write with some of these tools that we're going to talk about today, we're looking at the writing process and then what assistive technology tools and support tools can we insert to help the student increase their productivity and increase the quality of their writing. So keeping kind of those conventions in mind. And then here's that writing tools curriculum continuum again. Today we'll be focusing in on part 2, and I kind of specified the area, but I'm just going to pull this up in case you weren't here in the past. This is a brand new continuum written by Jane Farrow, who's been in the field for a long time and is really well known and reputable. And she's going to actually do an assessment, a formal assessment with this, and she's rolling this out for feedback right now, but it's really wonderful. Heidi and I both thought it was very timely to kind of use this as a focus for our class. So here's part 2, moving from simple sentences to multiple elements. And as you look through this, and I'll have a link to this again, hot off the press. You can see that we're going to move through, how do you expand sentences? So it's not just writing a sentence, but how do you increase the quality, the complexity, the vocabulary? And if students are struggling with, paper, pencil writing, or just typing in a blank word processing document, we're going to talk about what else can you do to support them through this writing process that you see here. And here, complex sentences. And, she does a great job at going into detail and talking about what that is, showing examples, talking about other technology that you can use. So use this as a discussion tool when you're figuring out, assessing a student's writing and figuring out what to use.
And I love to use it like with the teams when we're looking at goal writing, because it's very concrete, sequential. And so we can figure out, okay, this is where they are, and this is where we would like for them to be by the end of their 1-year IEP. So it's a really great tool.
Perfect. Great addition. Thank you, Heidi. And again, this is a repeat slide from last time, but again, fairly hot off the press, just, October, end of October. Here is a link to a webinar handout. She just did a whole webinar on this if you're interested. And then here is the actual recording of the webinar. So you can either look at her handout, look at the recording, or both, and that will help you kind of get into the document we just shared. All right, so let's launch into grammar and spell check. So what I did is I started with free tools, right? We all want to use what we have, what's built into our system. Try to consider iOS platform, Microsoft platform, Windows, and then also Google. These are all live links if you want to learn more. I think 70% of our state is on Chromebooks or using Google as their primary platform. Most teachers all have access to Microsoft Word. A lot of families do. Just know that the Microsoft Word editor is very robust and does a great job built in already. iOS has great built-in grammar support right in the, the features for anything you're using on the iPad, you can set that up for. Also, the word processor on iPad called Pages, that's for both Mac and iOS, has some nice editing features. So these top 3 or 4, and the Google grammar and spell check. So I don't know, Heidi, you want to jump in?
Because you're typing right in Chrome, it shows up.
Yeah,
just like when you're typing in Word, the grammar and the spell check shows up.
Yeah. So
it's nothing you have to like open, add in or anything. It's just kind of right there.
Yeah, so the first half of these really are just making sure you're aware of using those where there are, activating those and setting it up right so your student has the right level of support. And then knowing that there's some nice add-on, like I think Grammarly is probably the most popular Chrome extension. I'm just curious, have you guys used Grammarly in your districts as a Chrome extension? Are you allowed to use it? Because my Microsoft district disallowed Grammarly.
Have it in our districts on all the Chromebooks.
Ginger Chrome extension is another one I found that's pretty robust. Again, these are free to use initially, and then several of these have premium versions that you can pay for, but they're accessible free, and they do a lot for free. Typewrite is another one I found, which is an app. So if you need something for your iPad, that's a good one to know about. and language tool. It's a website or a Chrome extension. The paid grammar and spell check support, similar like Grammarly has a Chrome extension premium. Ginger has a Chrome extension premium. And then Read and Write is a popular third-party software that a lot of districts are using. And it has a really nice check it feature for grammar. This Got It software, which I'm going to show you here in the next slides. So first, let's just talk about Grammarly for a minute. What's nice about this, the free version, it pretty much follows you wherever you're typing and offers you some really nice feedback on spelling, not just underlining it, but here, talking about having more options over here. If you don't want spellings to be marked, you can add stuff to your personal dictionary. You can open it, the Grammarly editor. You can download on a desktop as a desktop app, a mobile app, Microsoft Office add-in. It pretty much is offered everywhere you need it. And then it underlines things that, where the grammar doesn't look right. I find it easy to use and very accessible and has a lot of great stuff for the free version. So if you haven't used anything beyond the basic ones that we've tried, Grammarly might be a really nice first place to start. Then there's this Got It. Got It is probably not as well known. This is a very robust dyslexia writing and reading assistant. And you can see it has much more than spelling and grammar checker, which is a really big part of this. It has a screenshot reader, it has word prediction, rewording, reading assistance. So it's kind of a full meal deal again. And it's a software that you purchase a license to. If you have those students who are dyslexic, maybe they want something more robust at home, especially if they might be high school age. This might be something to consider that's much more specific, because a lot of times in school districts, we don't get past the free, Microsoft or Google or iOS grammar supports. Not a lot of districts are buying this, but that might be the just right tool for that kid who really needs it. So here we do have a word prediction page where we talk about some of this and has some great pictures, videos, links to more resources on some of the basic stuff. I want to go back here and today, again, start with kind of the free word prediction tools. I've been bugging Microsoft for a long time about word prediction, and they, about 3 years ago, maybe, they came out with a built-in Windows text suggestions. It works fairly well. It's a great starting point to trial word prediction with a student. But I find it's not robust and it doesn't have enough settings for students that need it every day. They might need something more robust, but what a great place to start. Same thing with iOS predictive text or the Chromebook on-screen keyboard. So these are all, again, built-in free tools that are available. So I thought it might be cool to take a minute and see what you have with you. If you have a phone with you, to see if you want to go in. I know for iOS, I have a little screenshot here that you go into general and then into keyboards. And then you're able to toggle on and off predictive text. When I first got my phone, I'm like, hey, my phone's not predicting. What's up with that? Oh, got to go in and turn it on. So some of us forget about turning that on, and our students might not know that's even on their phone. So that's one thing to try. Or if you've never tried on your PC, turning on this free word prediction, that's another thing you might go. And if you just go into your little windows, there's a search window in the bottom left. If you type hardware keyboard, this will come up in the settings, and then all you do is toggle on here, show text suggestions as I type. Just make sure that's toggled on like you see in blue. And then when you go out of there and go back into a Word doc or anywhere else, you'll have 3 words in a horizontal strip that'll appear as word prediction. So I'm going to give you a minute. Hi, Elizabeth, you're back. Yay.
Oh, that's right. And I wanted to go back, Rose, quick to the slide before and just talk about the Chromebook word prediction. It only works with the on-screen keyboard. And so the settings are in that on-screen keyboard. So the keyboard that comes with the Chromebook, the word predictions work when they're using the on-screen keyboard.
I'm not going to go through all the links. I tried to have them for you so you can go into the ones that apply to whatever you're using. I'll say 2 more things about this Windows computer, because even if you have a Chromebook at work, I'm pretty sure most of you probably have a Windows computer, either a personal one or a work one as well. When you turn this on, it will stay on unless you go into the settings and toggle it back off. So it stays on, it works in any document, whether you're in email or in a PowerPoint or in your Word doc. It works everywhere until it gets annoying and you don't want it. Then you need to go and shut it off. In my prior district in Bellevue, we had WordQ as our software program for word prediction. I did find that when I had this on and word queue going, they actually end up causing some errors together. So I would advise using one at a time. So if you have another word predictor you're using in your district, you might want to toggle this off if your student is using Co-Writer or Read and Write or word queue. But if you want to trial it with a student and you don't have access to any other tools, this is a great place to start this, or, you know, on their phone or whatever else, just to see if that's a good tool for them. All right, this is another exciting thing. Hot off the press, word prediction is now built in as an accommodation in the secure browser for the SBA for state testing. It works whether you're on a Windows, Mac, or iOS device. So when your students are doing state testing, and if in the IEP you're listing that they need word prediction, and maybe they've been practicing with a tool like Co-Writer or Read and Write or WordQ, they can toggle. They say, I need word prediction, and then turn it on right there in the secure browser. Now, it won't be exactly like they've been using in a third-party tool, but Co-Writer helped embed this. So it models the Co-Writer word prediction window, which is probably one of our most popular ones. This is the most recent manual, and it does give you guidelines on page 36 on how to set up word prediction, although it doesn't tell you yet how to do it in the secure browser. And last thing I'll say is, if your student is using any other kind of word prediction on desktop software, there is a way to set it up as a non-embedded accommodation still if they want that very specific tool. Last year, they rolled out speech recognition. They added that to the SBA browser, and this year it's word predictions. And so then looking at our paid word prediction tools, and interestingly, the 5 that I chose here, all of them have companion apps. So whether you're on iOS, on an iPad, or you're using a Chromebook or Windows, I think almost all of these work on all 3 platforms. So Co-Writer Universal has an app. Read and Write also has an app. WordQ, I'm using Bellevue, but I know districts, these 3 are probably the most commonly used word prediction as third-party tools. And then Clicker 8, more and more people are using that. That does have word prediction among a plethora of other features. Clicker 8 has probably more of these writing support features in one tool than any others. But again, you have to figure out what works best for your kids in your school district. So we have links to resources on how to do word prediction in each of these. And then HelperBird, this is a Chrome extension, and there's a free version. But I found out when I downloaded the free version that you have to have this pro version to get word prediction. So word prediction is one of the features of HelperBird, but you have to do the paid version to get to it. For Co-Writer, this is a video on top of how to use the word prediction feature in Chrome extension. A lot of you said you were Chrome users. So if you haven't used it, you might want to check out that link. But this is the one I really wanted to share. How do you know when is the right time to introduce these skills, whether it's speech recognition or word prediction? So Don Johnston made this great quick writing screening for word prediction and speech recognition. And it kind of talks about what's the skill where the student needs help. And then here's some examples or ways to identify it. And kind of looking at transcription skills, spelling, generating text, grammar, word choice, and self-regulation, working memory. Heidi and I are both OTs, so we understand that need for self-regulation and having strategies to help students be able to write when they're avoiding it or acting out when they're writing. What is the cause of that? We try to figure that out. This is really a nice tool. You could adapt this in any way. So I thought this was worth sharing. And the link, again, is right here on the slide for you. And then WordQ, I've used it. And a couple unique things about WordQ, you can do it horizontal or vertical. But in this horizontal view, they have either a diamond or a triangle next to keywords. And like this one, fair, the word fair, F-A-I-R, it actually is one of those that has a usage example where it puts the word into a sentence. So the students can figure out in context, is that the word I want? And they can listen to that read back. So that's cool. And then the other icon, if you click on the word, you'll see a list of synonyms. So I don't know any other word predictions tools that do that. So I thought that was worth just sharing these couple unique features about WordQ.
We mostly use Google Read and Write. That's kind of our main one. We've got a couple kids on Co-Writer. And I know that one of those companies bought out the other company at some point, right? But is there really a difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, is there really a difference? Like when you're recommending word prediction for a student, do you have reasons why you recommend co-writer versus Google Read and Write?
Well, I mean, I know read and write a little bit, but for me, and the companies are merged. Don Johnson, Texthelp bought Don Johnston, but Don Johnston's maintaining their website and their products right now. So far, they're not blending their products into one. But the nice thing about co-writer is it just is so nonchalant how it floats above everything. I mean, I guess you do have your toolbar and read and write as well. That's a more comprehensive toolbar. But I don't know, Kaidi, what do you think? You've used both.
A lot of times, like for kids who are really like phonetic spellers and really have a hard time getting very many sounds in there, I will go with co-writer over read and write. The other thing about read and write is like if your district has like Cami or you're on a website needing to do some typing in something, read and write the word prediction won't work for read and write, but it will work for co-writer. You know, it just really kind of depends. Sometimes what I'll tell teachers is try both of them and see if you can figure out which one's going to work best for your student. I love the topic dictionaries in co-writer. So you can go in there and say, you know, we're writing about Egypt. So you can type Egypt. And then so those words about Egypt will come populated with fewer keystrokes.
Love the idea of them coming together and just having one subscription system too. That would be so convenient for our end. I feel like you said that because yeah, I have a problem with the word prediction in Cami for Google Read and Write. You said it does work for co-writer. Is that right?
It does work for co-writer. And I think if you're using the on-screen keyboard, I haven't tried this, but I think it will work within Google. I know if you're using dictation for Google, you can dictate right in Cami.
Okay, cool.
But read and write and Cami do not play well together.
Let's go on to word banks.